me start by saying that I am too old for this. I am 34 years old. I own a convenience store in a neighborhood that has never seen a police car that wasn't already involved in a chase. I have bad knees, a growing collection of back pain patches, and the emotional availability of a brick wall. My daily highlight is when the ramen delivery guy shows up 5 minutes early. I am not supposed to be dating a 26-year-old gang leader. And yet, here we are. His name is Baek Ha-joon, 26, leader of the Cheongdam faction, second largest in the city, although he'll tell you it's the largest because he's competitive about everything. He has a motorcycle that he drives like he's trying to outrun death. He has a smile that says, "I've made every bad decision possible, and I regret exactly none of them." He has a habit of showing up at my store at 3 a.m., buying a banana milk, and sitting on the counter while I try to restock the chips. "Do you ever sleep?" I asked him the first time he did this. "Nope," he said, grinning. "Do you ever smile?" "I'm smiling internally." "That's not how smiling works." "It is in my culture." "You're Korean. I'm Korean. We have the same culture." "Then you should know that smiling is overrated." He laughed. It was a loud, unself-conscious laugh that echoed through the empty store. I told myself I hated it. I was lying. Here's how we met. 3 months ago, a group of men in leather jackets tried to rob my store. Not smart. And not because I'm tough. I'm not. I have bad knees. But because my store is located exactly 400 meters from the Cheongdam faction's headquarters. This neighborhood belongs to Ha-joon. Everyone knows that. Everyone except these idiots. They came in at midnight. 3 of them. Baseball bats. Bad attitudes. I was behind the counter, reading a tax law newsletter. I told you I was boring. And I didn't even look up. "We're taking the register," one of them said. "The register is bolted to the floor," I replied, turning a page. "Also, you're in Cheongdam territory. You have approximately 90 seconds before someone notices." "Who's gonna notice?" The door opened. Ha-joon walked in. He was wearing a leather jacket over a white t-shirt, ripped jeans, and the kind of confidence that comes from never having been told no. He looked at the 3 men, then at the baseball bats, then at me. "Ji-hoon Hyung," he said. "You didn't call." "I was going to," I said. I was timing them. 90 seconds was generous. They've been here 40. The 3 men turned around. One of them raised his bat. Ha-joon didn't even flinch. He just looked at them, and something in his expression shifted, went cold, dangerous. "Leave," he said. "Now. And tell your boss that Cheongdam doesn't appreciate tourists." They left, fast. Ha-joon walked to the counter, grabbed a banana milk, and handed me a crumpled bill. "You're not going to chase them?" I asked. "Not worth it." He took a sip. "You're calm. I've been robbed before." "And?" "And nothing. They didn't take anything. The register's bolted." I paused. "Also, I have a panic button under the counter, but I didn't press it because I wanted to see what you'd do." He stared at me. Then he started laughing. "You're weird," he said. "You're a gang leader who drinks banana milk at midnight. Banana milk is delicious. Don't judge me." I didn't judge him. I just added him to my list of regulars and went back to my newsletter. He came back the next night, and the night after that, and the night after that. Here's what I learned about Ha-joon over the next 3 months. He was the youngest faction leader in the city. He'd inherited the position at 22 after his older brother was killed in a turf war. The Cheongdam faction had been falling apart, weakened by infighting, targeted by rivals, and Ha-joon had rebuilt it from nothing. He was ruthless when he needed to be. He was also, against all odds, kind.
He visited the elderly residents in his territory every Sunday. He paid for funerals when families couldn't afford them. He once chased a pickpocket for 6 blocks to return a wallet to a grandmother who'd been saving for her grandson's school fees. He didn't even take the money, the grandmother told me later, crying. He just wanted the wallet back. He said it had photos. I didn't tell her that the pickpocket had probably woken up in a hospital the next day. Ha-joon wasn't a saint. He was a gang leader. He did terrible things to terrible people.
But he also bought me banana milk every night and pretended not to notice when I started saving the bottles. The first time he kissed me, I almost had a heart attack. It was 2 a.m. The store was empty. I was counting the register, by hand because the machine had broken again, and Ha-joon was sitting on the counter, drinking his banana milk.
"Hyung,"
he said.
"What?"
Do you ever think about dating? No. Ever? I'm 34. I have bad knees. My idea of a fun night is alphabetizing the chips by flavor profile. That's not what I asked. I looked up. He was staring at me with an intensity that made my stomach do something uncomfortable. "Ha-joon," I said, "you're 26. I know how old I am. You're a gang leader. I know what I do for work. I stopped. You're not supposed to be interested in me." "Why not?" "Because I'm boring. Because I'm old. Because I own a convenience store and you own half the city."
I don't own half the city. I own like a third, maybe 2/5. He leaned forward.
"And I'm not interested in you because of what you do. I'm interested in you because you're the only person who's never been scared of me."
You drink banana milk. It's hard to be scared of someone who drinks banana milk.
I could have people killed.
You could, but you won't, because you're too busy making sure the grandmothers in your territory have heat in the winter. I closed the register. You're not a villain, Ha-joon. You're just a kid who had to grow up too fast. He was quiet for a long moment. Then he leaned in and kissed me. It was gentle, soft, nothing like the person who could command a room with a single glance. His lips tasted like banana milk. I kissed him back. And I thought, well, this is going to be a disaster. The disaster arrived 2 weeks later. His name was Chairman Nam, 62, wealthy, connected, the head of the Bukgang faction, Cheongdam's biggest rival. He'd been trying to absorb Ha-joon's territory for years, and now he'd found leverage. Me. They grabbed me outside the store. 3 men, black suits, professional. They didn't bother with a sack, just shoved me into a black van and drove me to a warehouse on the outskirts of the city. I wasn't scared. I was annoyed. I just restocked the chips. "You're Yoon Ji-hoon?" the man in charge said. He was bald, muscular, and looked like he'd never smiled in his life. "Convenience store owner, yes." "Ha-joon's friend?" "We're not friends. He buys banana milk, I sell it. It's a transactional relationship."
The bald man's eye twitched. "He killed my brother." "Did your brother try to rob a convenience store?" "My brother was a businessman." "Most businessmen don't get killed by gang leaders. Your brother must have been very bad at his job." The bald man punched me. It hurt. I made a mental note to stop antagonizing kidnappers. They kept me for 3 days. It wasn't as dramatic as it sounds. They put me in a room with a cot, a bucket, and a single light bulb. They fed me rice and water. They asked me questions about Ha-joon's operations, where he kept his money, who his allies were, when he was most vulnerable. I told them nothing. Not because I was brave, because I genuinely didn't know. Ha-joon didn't tell me about his work. He visited me at 3 a.m., drank banana milk, and complained about his day. That was the extent of our relationship. "You're useless," the bald man said on the 3rd day.
I'm a salesman, I said. Being useless is part of the job. He raised his fist again. The door exploded inward. Ha-joon stood in the doorway, flanked by 6 of his men. His white t-shirt was splattered with blood. Not his, based on the way he was moving. His eyes were cold. His jaw was set. "Chairman Nam," he said, his voice low and dangerous. "You took something of mine." The bald man, Chairman Nam apparently, backed away. "He's just a store owner. He's not—" "He's mine." Ha-joon took a step forward. "And you're going to regret touching him." The fight lasted 4 minutes. I watched from the cot, eating the last of my rice. Ha-joon was efficient, brutal. He didn't kill Nam. That would have started a war. But he made sure Nam would remember this night every time he looked in the mirror. When it was over, Ha-joon walked to me. His hands were shaking. "Hyung," he said, "are you okay?" "I'm fine." I stood up. My ribs ached. My lip was split. "You're late. I was getting bored." He stared at me. Then he laughed, that loud, unself-conscious laugh, and pulled me into a hug so tight that I felt my ribs protest. "I thought I lost you," he whispered. "You didn't. I'm too boring to die." "I love you," he said. I froze. "You don't have to say it back," he continued. I needed you to know, in case something happens, in case—" "I love you too," I said. "Now, can we go home? I need to ice my ribs and alphabetize the chips." He laughed again. This time, there were tears in his eyes. "Yeah," he said. "Let's go home." The aftermath wasn't clean. Chairman Nam didn't start a war. Ha-joon had made sure of that. But the balance of power shifted. Ha-joon's faction absorbed part of Nam's territory. The police started paying more attention. Ha-joon had to go underground for a while, lying low, letting the heat die down. He stayed with me, in my tiny apartment above the convenience store. "You live above the store?" he asked the first night, looking around at my beige walls and beige furniture and beige everything. "I like convenience." "You like beige. Beige is calming. Beige is depressing. Beige is classic." He grinned. "You're classic." I threw a pillow at him. He caught it. We slept in my bed, a twin, because I'd never planned on sharing, and I woke up with his arm around my waist and his face buried in my neck. His hair was a mess. His breathing was soft. He looked younger when he slept. Peaceful, like the 26-year-old he actually was. I didn't move. I didn't want to wake him. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, and thought about how I'd spent 34 years building a safe, boring, predictable life, and how one banana milk drinking gang leader had turned it completely upside down. 6 months later, Ha-joon stepped down. Not entirely. He was still the leader of Cheongdam, but he handed over day-to-day operations to his second-in-command. He started spending more time at the store. He learned how to stock shelves, badly, and how to work the register, worse. He still drank banana milk at 3 a.m., but now he sat on the floor instead of the counter, because I'd finally convinced him that sitting on the counter was unsanitary. "Unsanitary," he repeated, like it was a curse word. "You're a gang leader. You're not supposed to care about sanitation. I care about you, and you care about sanitation, so now I care about sanitation." That's the most romantic thing you've ever said. "I know. I'm practicing." He kissed me. It was 3 a.m. The store was empty. The banana milk bottles were lined up on the counter like little soldiers. "I'm not going to marry you," I said. "I didn't ask." "You were thinking about it." "I was not." "You were. I could see it in your eyes." "My eyes don't say anything." "Your eyes say everything. They're very expressive. It's annoying." He laughed. I laughed. "Somewhere outside,
The city was quiet. My name is Yoon Ji-hoon. I'm 34 years old. I own a convenience store in a neighborhood that used to be dangerous. Now it's just mine and his. Ours. The grandmothers still get heat in the winter. The pickpockets? Think twice. The ramen delivery guy knows us by name. And every night at 3 a.m., a reformed gang leader walks into my store, buys a banana milk, and kisses me like I'm the only thing in
The world that matters. I used to think love was overrated. I was wrong.